She thought no one saw the murder. Police believed her lies until a child's memory revealed the chilling truth. In this gripping true crime story, we uncover the shocking case of a mother who claimed her husband simply disappeared. But forensic evidence and her daughter's testimony told another story. From lies and cover-ups to a powerful courtroom twist, this case proves that even the darkest secrets can't escape the light. Backhand index pointing right. Don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories where justice is revealed in the most unexpected ways. Her perfect lie unraveled. When her son spoke the truth she couldn't silence. The night was quiet in suburban Wisconsin. Rows of modest homes, their porch lights glowing, painted a picture of peace. But inside one small house at the edge of town, something darker brewed, an act of violence that would rip through a family, a community, and eventually the nation's headlines. At dawn, police got a frantic call from a woman named Rachel Adams. Her voice cracked with desperation. "My husband is gone. He left after another fight. He just vanished." To neighbors, Rachel's story sounded believable. She had often complained of her husband, Michael Adams, being difficult, controlling, short-tempered, and distant. Now, she painted herself as a victim, abandoned by a man who had simply walked out. But detectives didn't buy it. Not right away. Something about Rachel's tone was rehearsed. Her pauses a little too deliberate. And when officers entered her home, they found things that didn't fit the picture of a man who just stormed off. The carpet was freshly scrubbed, reeking faintly of bleach. A section near the couch had been cut out, leaving an awkward patch on the floor. And though Rachel insisted she didn't know where Michael had gone, her phone records showed multiple late-night trips in her car. Still without a body, there was little police could do. Rachel believed she had told the perfect lie. But what she didn't know was that the truth was already alive, sitting quietly inside her own house, waiting to speak through the lips of her child. Rachel Adams had answers ready for everything. When detectives asked why the living room smelled like bleach, she shrugged, claiming she'd been deep cleaning. The cutout carpet? She explained away with a laugh, saying her dog had soiled it and she decided to replace the section herself. Her story was seamless on the surface. So seamless it almost felt rehearsed. Detective Carla Jenkins, one of the youngest yet sharpest investigators on the force, noticed it immediately. Rachel never stumbled, never faltered. Her words flowed like she'd practiced them in the mirror. And that's what raised the first real flag. Most people under stress, Jenkins explained later, trip over their own words. They forget small details. They change their stories without realizing it. Rachel? She was too smooth. Still, without a body, there was little to anchor suspicions. Rachel claimed Michael had stormed out after a heated argument, saying he couldn't handle her anymore. She painted herself as a victim left behind with the kids, trying to pick up the pieces. And for weeks, it almost worked. She played the role of grieving wife, sitting with neighbors on the porch, crying into tissues, shaking her head about her husband's abandonment. But behind the curtain, she was building an alibi brick by brick. Phone records showed Rachel had been at a friend's house the night Michael disappeared. Her car, spotless and freshly washed, left no immediate signs of foul play. And she insisted that she'd slept soundly in her bed, children safe in their rooms, while her husband vanished into the night. To many in the community, Rachel's story sounded plausible. Michael had always been described as moody, restless, sometimes absent for days. Maybe this time he'd left for good. But Detective Jenkins didn't believe it. Something in Rachel's eyes, something cold and calculated, screamed that this was no ordinary missing person case. And then the cracks began to show. Rachel's 6-year-old son, a quiet boy with wide eyes and a tendency to whisper rather than speak, started talking to his grandmother. What he said changed everything. Children see everything. They may not always understand, but they notice, they remember, and when the time comes, they speak in ways no adult can dismiss. Rachel's 6-year-old son, Ethan, had been unusually quiet since his father disappeared. While Rachel told neighbors that Michael had abandoned the family, Ethan clutched his blanket and sat silently in the corner, eyes darting toward his mother with a mixture of fear and confusion. One evening, while visiting his grandmother, Ethan whispered something that sent chills down her spine. Daddy didn't leave. Mommy heard him. The grandmother froze. What do you mean, sweetheart? Ethan's tiny voice trembled, but he continued. I saw Mommy and Daddy fighting. Then Daddy stopped moving. Mommy dragged him. Grandma called the police immediately. Detective arrived, and though cautious about the words of a child, they listened carefully. Ethan described things no 6-year-old should know. The sound of his father groaning, the way his mother used gloves, and the strange red stain on the floor before the carpet was fixed. What made Ethan's account so chilling was its consistency. He didn't stumble, didn't contradict himself. Every time detectives asked, he repeated the same details with childlike honesty. Detective Jenkins leaned in. Ethan, where did Mommy put Daddy? The boy pointed toward the garage. In the car. She left late at night. Rachel's carefully constructed alibi was unraveling. Not from forensic science, not from police pressure, but from the innocent lips of her own son. Still, detectives knew they needed physical evidence. A child's testimony could spark suspicion, but not a conviction. And so, the search intensified. Police combed through Rachel's car, pulling apart carpets, spraying luminol across surfaces that had been meticulously scrubbed. That's when they saw it. Faint blue glows under the back seat. Blood traces. Michael's blood. The lie was cracking wide open. But Rachel wasn't ready to surrender. She doubled down, insisting her son was confused and making up stories. She called him a little boy with a wild imagination. Yet the more she tried to silence him, the more Ethan spoke. And every word drove her deeper into a corner she couldn't escape. Rachel thought she had cleaned everything. Bleach on the floor, gloves on her hands, late-night trips to discard trash bags. To the untrained eye, the house looked spotless. But detectives knew that no crime scene is ever truly clean. Inside Rachel's garage, forensic teams sprayed luminol across the concrete floor. Within seconds, glowing streaks appeared, lighting up the darkness like ghostly fingerprints of violence. The outline of a body, drag marks, blood pooling in places Rachel thought she had scrubbed away forever. Michael was here, whispered Detective Jenkins. She can't deny this now. Lab tests confirmed it. The DNA matched Michael. The garage had been ground zero for his death. But investigators weren't done. They tore apart Rachel's SUV, peeling back layers of fabric, and beneath the rear seat, they found more blood, Michael's again, and in the trunk, carpet fibers embedded with traces of human tissue. Rachel's perfect alibi was collapsing with every new discovery. By now, whispers of the case had reached the press. What began as a quiet domestic tragedy exploded into front-page headlines. Mother accused in husband's disappearance. Child witness speaks out against his own mother. Reporters camped outside Rachel's home. Microphones thrust forward, cameras flashing. Neighbors who once offered sympathy now crossed the street to avoid her. Rachel, once calm and polished, now looked haggard. She wore oversized sunglasses, avoided eye contact, and muttered that the police were framing her. But the pressure was only beginning. Detectives called Rachel in for questioning again, this time with a forensic report spread across the table. This is your husband's blood, Rachel. Jenkins said firmly, we found it in your garage, your car, your trunk. You can't bleach DNA. Rachel's lips tightened. For the first time, her confidence cracked. You don't understand, she snapped. Michael was dangerous. He was going to ruin us. It wasn't a confession, but it was close. And the detectives knew they had her. One cold morning, neighbors watched as Rachel was let out of her house in handcuffs. She didn't shout, didn't cry. Her face was pale, jaw clenched, eyes staring at the ground. Ethan, clutching his grandmother's hand, watched silently from the porch across the street. The boy who had spoken the truth had just watched his world collapse. The media captured every second. Rachel, once a respected member of the community, now branded as a killer. But the real storm was yet to come, the trial. Because Rachel still believed she could outsmart the system. The courthouse was overflowing on the first day of Rachel Monroe's trial. People who had never met Michael lined up outside, hungry for a glimpse of the woman accused of killing her husband. The media called it the case of the drowned husband. Though by now, everyone knew the truth. Michael hadn't drowned at all. Inside, Rachel sat at the defense table in a tailored navy suit. Her hair was neatly pinned, her expression stoic. If you didn't know better, you'd think she was a victim. That was the image her defense team wanted to project. A grieving widow wrongly accused, hounded by overzealous detectives and sensationalist media. But the prosecution had other plans. The prosecutor's voice boomed through the courtroom. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is not a case of an accident. This is a case of betrayal. A wife who killed her husband, staged the scene, and thought